I did a video the other day about living a cheap lifestyle. And one of my viewers left a comment, Janet and Tom from South Florida, and they said, Sam, there's a difference between minimalism and being cheap. And I thought about it for a minute and I said, you're right. There is. Minimalism is being conscious, disciplined, in purchasing something, considering not just the financial cost, but the emotional cost. In life, it's not just about running the numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about evaluating the purpose of something in your life and how it serves you, not just financially, but emotionally. Minimalism is a holistic way you look at acquiring things, consumerism. You are not making decisions purely on emotion, even if it's cheap. Like if you see something marked down in the store and you buy it, it's cheap, it's affordable, but it's not minimalistic. It's not serving a true purpose in your life if you only bought it for a financial reason. Minimalism is understanding financial health and emotional health. It's understanding that everything we buy, we have to take care of. It's a Friday as I make this live feed. Many people will spend most of their weekend working on things that don't really serve a utilitarian purpose in their life. You'll work on your basement. You'll work on a spare room. You'll do a lot of wasted energy, wasted time, wasted money. And understanding that humans are very inefficient if left to their own vices, if left to marketing or consumerism, humans have to learn to step outside themselves. Being cheap is just as an emotional thing as being lustful. You're just evaluating the emotional high of saving money, which is fun. It's fun to save money. I like to save money. Nothing wrong with that. But I take it a step further and I would categorize myself as a minimalist. Again, I would avoid labeling yourself anything, avoid labeling yourself Christian, Muslim, any of that, and just label yourself as being whole, being in a healthy place. I don't give a shit if you're, I don't care what you call yourself. Okay. Republican, Democrat, Christian, Jewish, atheist. I want to know, are you in a healthy place in your life? When should you leave a relationship when you're not in a healthy place? When should you sell your house when it's not healthy for you? When should you buy something? Only if it's healthy for you and it serves a purpose. I feel good. I feel thankful not having to take care of a lot of other things. Minimalism is very efficient with deploying of your time, energy, and resources. It's not wasteful. And it gives you more capacity, more energy to do creative things. You think you can have a family, 2 houses, and run a YouTube channel? You say a YouTube channel serves no purpose in my life. Maybe you think a YouTube channel is fun, but I'll tell you right now, if I had a house, if I had 2 kids, would I have a YouTube channel? No. I know a guy, used to be a guy from Florida. He had a lot of people that liked him because all he would talk about is Florida and what it's like to live in Florida, but he doesn't have the capacity to show up every day to YouTube. Why? Because he's worn thin. Minimalism is, again, being efficient in your passion, in your purpose, in your finances. Efficient so that you can be effective in living your best life. Being cheap is just shopping at the Dollar Tree. I spend sometimes more money on food than most people. Why? Because I have decided, after being obese and unhealthy and watching a friends of mine die of diabetes, watching my mom suffer from diabetes, I've decided that I'm not going to just buy the cheapest thing I can find when it comes to feeding my body. Your body is the temple of God. If you're obese, you're technically committing a sin. You're a glutton. You're not taking care of yourself. Do I believe in that? Well, guys, like it's all subjective. I just say that to jar you a little bit, to shake you up, to make you think about, you think you're getting over on life because, you're getting free soda from someone on the street, or you're getting, a free pizza at lunch on Friday from your job place. But guys, let me tell you something. The worst thing you can do is put unhealthy food in your body. What does it have to do with minimalism? It has a lot. Minimalism to me is about living your healthiest, best life. Not just about money. Money's part of it. Emotional health, financial health, physical health. What are we talking about? A comprehensive way you look at life. You want to deal with road rage. You want to deal with stress at your job. The last thing you want to do is deal with working on your house on the weekend, is deal with eating unhealthy. You're putting more stress on yourself. Less stress, more life. There's a time for stress. Some people try to avoid stress and they give themselves more stress. Does it serve a purpose in your life? Whatever you're going to acquire, a house, an outfit, a car, how much will you use it? 60%, 80%? I had a conversation with a friend this week. He's got almost a 3,000 square foot house. Very nice house, nice guy, hardworking guy. Had to get a new central air conditioning, almost $20,000. Dual zone. Got to get a warranty on that. And of course, I always bust his chops only because I love him. I said, man, you got your mind. But he's got a family and stuff. But I said, let me tell you something. You got 4 people in that house. You only need a 1,000 square foot house because one person only needs 250 square feet. So 4 times 250 is 1,000 square feet. So I said, let me tell you something. You got 3 times the size of a house that you would need. So you're paying 3 times more than you need to pay for air conditioning. Not just the installation, but the monthly bill. Now you could say, well, I want to be cheap and not give my family air conditioning. That's not wisdom. Okay. That's being cheap. Being a minimalist is saying, all right, I want to give my family air conditioning. I want air conditioning. But I want to do it in the most efficient, effective way so that we don't waste resources on it. Now, sometimes I'm a cheap bastard in combination with being a minimalist. It's true. I did a live feed about, is being cheap a mental disorder? Because it's almost like an addictive thing. Anything addictive could be a little bit of a disorder. Now, people with great disorders have done great things because they have a lot of focus. What's the difference between a laser and a light focus? What's the difference between a 400 electrical bill and no electrical bill? Well, being a nomad versus living in a 3,000 square foot house. Being a minimalist. I know cheap people living in an RV lot for $200 a month. It's a dump. Would I want to do that? No. There's different ways to be a minimalist. There's different ways to live cheap. There's no one answer for everyone, like you'll see in many things in life. But don't let anyone force their truth on you. A lot of times people try to do that to me, especially on a public platform such as YouTube. At the same time, I've built my confidence, built my peace, built my extra capacity, built my consistency, and delivering a message on this channel of almost 3,000 videos, 3 years, every day and upload. Some trolls follow me, but they'll be following me until they die. Why? And because I have decided in life, when you live below your means, when you live efficient, when you live a minimalistic life, you don't have to be terrorized by the people that love you, wish you loved them. There's a cheap mindset out there. A cheap mindset is, I'm going to be spiteful to try to make someone love me. You're not going to make someone love you by being nasty to them. They're not going to give in to your will. Not anyone worth it. Minimalism is saying, let me cut down on some of the excess in my life so I could be a better person for myself. Not to make other people like me, but for myself. Many people don't like themselves, it's true. Many people are scared to show up. Many people avoid downsizing and just fall into a trap of living cheap. Because the cheap way to be a minimalist is not really to throw out, it's not to sell, it's not to change the core foundation of your life. It's to shop at the Dollar Tree and ignore the fact that you have a house that you don't really use anymore. Your spouse died, your children are no longer there, and you're lying to yourself. You're being cheap, not a minimalist. Now, if you convert to minimalism, does that mean that you get a gold star on your forehead? No, it's nothing to do with that. The question is today and every day of your life, are you in a healthy place? I think minimalism helps you address looking at saving money in a better way because it's a holistic way. You're not just looking to save money, you're looking to be efficient, and you're looking to cross-reference the cost financially versus the emotional cost, whether it's stress or whatever, and also cross-reference the value of something. Like, again, I may spend more money in food, but to me, there's more value in healthy food than Dollar Tree food, okay? Again, I've had friends that I've lost young to diabetes, family members to obesity. I see value in nutrition, especially as I get older, okay? So I'm not going to be cheap on certain things. Sometimes people send me messages that, I can live on $500 a month. I'm not mad at you. Guys, look, I'm not playing a game with anybody about who can live the cheapest. I'm on a journey for my best life, as best I can for me. Everyone's different. And I think minimalism is better than being cheap. Again, I could be a little bit both, so I won't try to, but I think about that sometimes. And even as I would look at an RV or a car or a home base, I look at it not through necessarily just being cheap, but a minimalistic way. Because one of my friends who I was busting his chops about having a 3,000 square foot house, about having to spend $20,000 for a new central air, I was busting his chops, and he started busting mine back a little bit. He goes, well, Sam, look, you're living in 10 square feet. I don't know if that's optimal. And I said, you know what? That's probably fair. I'm probably a little bit too extreme the other way. And now when I look at home bases or I look at RV lots, if I ever do, I know to look at it through a way of a calculated, efficient manner, not just on money, but on location. I could have bought some cheap property in a bad location. Why didn't I? That's just being cheap, not being a minimalist. I don't want to live in the middle of nowhere just for the sake of being cheap. Coconut and Dreams, a.k.a. Elon Musk, a.k.a. Tesla stocks over $2,000 per share. About to do a split. Coconut and Dreams about to sail into the sunset of South Florida. Make every MILF regret the worst decision they ever made by not kissing his ass because he got the money bag. Coconut and Dreams. Trash can emoji of all the junk food. I agree with that emoji. Even though I enjoyed it when I was young. And then house emoji. Well, you can give me another trash can emoji for the house. Because I'll take an RV lot or a small little shack or just keep nomading. I will take the simple life in the view of a minimalist versus in the view of being cheap. I'm not cheap RV living. I don't do videos about, you can live on $250 a month in the middle of the desert. I'm not mad at that. But I don't think anyone sustainably lives that way long. Well, even my lifestyle, I would say most people don't sustainably live that way. But I tell you that one is I may not do this forever. I say two is even if you are going to acquire, whether RV, car, investment, acquire it measuring not just the financial data, the emotional data. How much stress will this purchase or this person bring to your life? When you're a minimalist, you don't just look at that as far as like purchasing a home. You look at it as relationships. Is this person worth my time? Should you ask yourself that? You damn right. Is this troll worth my time? No. Block, delete, move on. Are you a babysitter for adults? I'm not. Value your time. My mom was saying the other day, we know this one person a little bit entitled, a little bit, I won't say a nasty person, but they got a bad attitude. But they were still working at the age of 70. And my mom said, yeah, they're working until the age of 70. Whether or not they need the money, I don't know. But they were like sitting there talking to someone the other day for like 2 hours, just like wasting time. And I said, Ma, I don't think they need the money financially, but whatever, he has the right to. I think he's one of those people that doesn't know what to do with their time. They don't know what to do with themselves. Some people work because they don't know what to do with their time. Some people don't work because they don't They don't have the tenacity to show up. And both people, the people who don't show up to work and the people that go to work just to keep busy, it's almost like they really, I don't know, man. There's not a preciousness of time. You know, like for me, I look at the clock all throughout the day. Even as I do this live feed, sometimes I monitor the amount of time I'm on the internet. Not in an anal way, but in a way where I don't want to waste time. I don't want to, other people to waste time. There's a time to kick backs. But I said to my mom, this guy was sitting there for like 2 hours talking about nothing. Okay. I had a friend of mine who was in construction. Once in a while, he would get into a debate with another person. They would start to argue about electrical code theory. And I would say, man, I don't want to hear about that shit. Now, I did what I needed to do to be an electrician, but I really was never passionate about talking about electrical code. Some people are. For me, it's a waste of time. I'm passionate talking about being a minimalist versus being cheap. What's your passion? I don't think you develop your passion being cheap. I think you develop your passion being a minimalist. Understanding the reason you're efficient is to be effective in mind, body, soul, and the wallet. Being effective in a holistic, healthy way. Team vasectomy, marriage costs too much to get into, costs too to stay out. I'll tell you this. Well, shout out to Coconut and Dreams. He's got the car emojis. He's heading down to South Florida. I tell team vasectomy, I tell every man, woman, I think a relationship is very inefficient for your emotional needs. Most people I know in a relationship, they have more stress than happiness. That's how I evaluated it. Because guys, I was able to be in some great relationships. I'm very thankful for all the good women that I was able to be with. And I never turned bitter. What I turned into my early 30s and I said, I don't want kids. And I really am happier single. And it wasn't a bitter, nasty move. I didn't have a bitter divorce. I was never married. I was never of course, some relationships I got done wrong, and some relationships, I didn't do them wrong, but I didn't like them as much as they liked me. If you're honest with yourself, like I tell team vasectomy all the time because I love them, I bust his chops a little bit. Like, you may have been hurt by a woman, but I can guarantee you there's probably some butt ugly psychopath chicks that tried to get with you and you denied them the stick. We have to be fair in our evaluation. We've been hurt and we hurt other people. Coconut and Dreams, a.k.a. Elon Musk in the building. If you get married, you will have no money bag emoji. I agree with that. You might as well split your Tesla stock, but you ain't going to get the equal amount of shares. Okay. And we have Keeping Up with Bree. She's a female in here, young female. She says the same thing. I think whether you're a female, whether you're a nurse, doctor, DoorDasher, don't matter. A female or male, I recommend you stay single. That's true. Now, some people don't like that, and then they try to force their view on me. Well, every time I don't respond to a lot of the comment. I respond to every comment on my channel, not just in my live feed, but on my channel. And that's engagement, that's effort, that's time. And so now I've grown to the point through earning a level of building of the channel is that I really don't respond to people if I see they're not worth my energy. Why? Because if someone's trying to convince me to buy a house or convince me that love or relationship is great, why don't you go watch a home renovation channel? Or why don't you go watch like a lovey-dovey channel? Don't watch this channel. I'm not going to waste my time on you. Team vasectomy. Yeah, here we go. I've dumped lots of women. You hurt lots of women. I like short-term love. Well, brother, you done broke hearts, man, all over the world. Okay. You're trying to go to DR and break some hearts, even though we had a viewer said stay the hell out of DR. He said he was just there a couple times. It was a disaster. Shout out to you, Team Vasectomy. Love to you, brother. Love to my man, Coconut and Dreams. Love to you both and gratitude to you. Know your worth. Know your worth. And that's part of it. After you've done an apprenticeship or an internship, which means you've worked for a couple of years with no pay or with low pay, but then through showing up, through being there, and through adding value, you've earned a higher pay. Never offer your time without being compensated for the work that you've earned and the value you bring. Now, we're different times in life where if we don't have a job, we have to take a lesser job. But the reason you work and you show up and you're consistent is so that over time you can build your career, build your value, and charge for that value. See, some people who live cheap, who don't work, who live dirt poor, if they can help it. Some people can't help it. But they expect everything for free because they don't put any effort into their life. They don't realize what it is to work 5 year in apprenticeship, to go to school at night, work during the day, a job you hate, to build up so you can make more money so you can get ahead. They don't know what it is every day to make a YouTube video for 3 years, answer trolls, deal with the mentally unhealthy, be called names. You know what I mean? Have to make a live feed. So they put no value on any service, whether you're an electrician or whether you're YouTube. They put no value because they put no value into their own life. They're being cheap. A minimalist is saying, look, I'm going to cut down on some of the square footage of my house because I work hard. I want to keep more of my money. Okay. I want to take more risks in my financial investments. I want to tap into more of my creativity. So I have to free up capacity here to deploy it there. You're being more efficient. Coconut and Dreams. Tell a woman you are broke and see how long she sticks around for women, always looking for her. I hear you. I hear you. And, look, tell a man that you're a butt ugly 400-pound chick with a snaggletooth. Watch how fast he gets the hell out of Dodge. So it's true to both ways. So what I tell men and women is stay single. Why? Because you're better off. And if you had a kid and if you got divorced, I recommend you don't get married again. But if you do, am I mad? I'm not mad at anyone. If you want to get married, if you want to have 5 kids, or if you don't. Again, I'm just living my life being a minimalist. And I found, again, minimalism, not just about financial. It's about emotional health. It's about less stress. You show me someone who's working on their house and has to deal with their ex and has to deal with raising a child and has to deal with himself. And I'll show you someone who needs 5 vacations and they're still not happy. Team vasectomy. Sam, why do most homeless people ask for the time in New Jersey? Most homeless people just start a conversation to panhandle. So panhandling is an art form. You strike up a conversation about a meaningless topic, and then you start a conversation, you waste some time, and then the conversation ends is, can you get some money? So I keep my head down and keep it moving. If I give to a homeless person, I give it to them, I keep my mouth shut, and I get the hell out of Dodge. Sometimes I've had homeless people say, I'm not going to spend your money on alcohol. And I told them back, I said, look, if I give it to you, I don't give a shit what you spend on. Because I spend time in the street, I spend time in rehabs. And what I could tell you is seeing family members strung out in drugs and volunteering with the homeless is that you ain't going to change anyone. So if you give money, it's just like giving to the church. Give it and don't expect shit back. Coconut and Dreams. I think a relationship or marriage is the most expensive thing you can get yourself into. Second after kids. If you have kids, then you really screw yourself. Shout out to Team Vasectomy and Gangster Talk. Next is a relationship, probably true. I remember an episode of The Cosby Show, and I know Cosby went nasty, and make a mental note. He used to blast Eddie Murphy for cursing, and come to find out Bill Cosby used to drug chicks to have sex with them, allegedly. And Eddie Murphy was cursing, and he was the good guy. But what I can tell you, one episode of The Cosby Show I remember, because I still think The Cosby Show has tremendous value, is that he was teaching his son, what was his son name? Anybody remember the son name from The Cosby Show? I forgot. But he was telling his sons that he had put the game of Monopoly out because his son was coming of age where he was going to move out on his own. And Bill Cosby has said to his son, he goes, all right, you want to move out on your own? I'm going to teach you a lesson about life here. So he got the Monopoly game out. He took out some money. He goes, how much do you think you're going to make at a job? So I don't know what he said. He said $2,000 a month or something. He said some type of basic average number. And Bill Cosby said, okay, I'll give you that. And he goes, so he gives his son $2,000. And then he says, all right, well, you got to pay rent, right? And his son goes, yeah. And his son gave him so Bill Cosby took $1,000 from him. And his son said, Theodore. Yeah, that's right, Coconut and Dreams. Theodore was the son's name. So then Theodore took $500 back from Bill Cosby and said, no. I can live in the studio apartment because it's just one person. Okay, so he saved money. Okay, so then he was left with $1,500. He goes, all right, you got to have a car, you got to have insurance. So he took a couple hundred. And then he said, all right, Dad, look, I paid for a housing. I paid for food. I paid for transportation. He goes, well, you haven't paid for utilities. So he gave him a little bit more money. He goes, now you haven't paid for food yet either, right? You got to eat. So he gave him a little bit more money. So after all the monthly budget line items that Bill Cosby was showing his son Theodore in a lesson of life, I think Theodore, the son, was left with a couple $100 free and clear after everything paid. So he was very proud of himself of proving his father wrong. Like, look, you can work a basic job and you can get ahead. So Bill Cosby he stood back a minute and he smiled. He goes, let me tell you something, son. Let me ask you this. Do you plan on being in a relationship? And his son, young, horny, just a young kid like I was, he goes, yeah, sure, Dad, I want a girlfriend. And he smiled. He said, give me that money. You ain't got no money left after that. And that's true. After a relationship, you have to dress nicer. You have to take them out and vice versa. It's a two-way street. If you're a woman, you got to get your nails done. You got to get your hair done. Never ends. Coconut Dreams. I spend $1,500 per month on food for myself. Well, hey, look, Tesla stock over 2,000. You can double that and you still be good, brother. So I love you, man. Your monthly budget is based on a percentage. So if you make $6,000 a month, I don't know what you make, but let's just say you did, then $1,500 a month may be in proportion. Now, if you made $2,000 a month and you're spending $1,500 in food, it may be out of alignment. So everyone has to evaluate their alignment. But being cheap is again, it's like I'm going to buy cheap food on the dollar menu, but you're not looking at the nutrition and the value it has in your life or lack of value. So minimalism is more of a holistic way, emotionally, financially, every way. And being cheap is solely looking at the bottom line, looking at the dollar cost. So I want to encourage you, challenge you, and reflect on my own life today. And again, thank my viewer, Janet and Tom, who brought this up. They said, Sam, there's a difference between being a minimalist, being cheap, and being frugal. Now, I would kind of probably put frugal into the cheap category. Shout out to my viewer, Frugal Girl, and her daughter. I think they'll be nomad soon. But I want to encourage you to curve your habits more on the minimalism way, which is there's nothing wrong with a house, but make sure it's not too much square footage. There's nothing wrong with a car or RV, but make sure, again, it's not too big or too expensive. And it fits and it serves the need. Why would you get a fifth wheel travel trailer if it's just you, or if it's just you and one other person? Why would you get a 24-foot Class B if it's just you? Maybe you just need a 20-footer. Why would you get a 2,000 square foot house if it's just you, your spouse, and one kid? So now, why would you buy a cheap ass house in a bad neighborhood? Never do that. Never buy a cheap house in a bad neighborhood, in my opinion. Never buy cheap land in the middle of nowhere, in my opinion. Why? It doesn't really serve a purpose. Yes, it gives you cheap housing, but in a bad location with bad quality of life, your environment matters. Like right now, I chose a bad location where I got the sun beating in on me. My quality of life is down. Okay. Just the position of your house. Does it face southwest? Does it face southeast? See, when I was in the housing market, I didn't understand about the direction of your house and the sun exposure. You don't want to have a cheap house, but you don't get any sun. You're going to get a lot of mildew, but you were being cheap, not a minimalist. You want a house that gets good sun exposure, but not too much, because then your electric bill is going to be off the roof. You want to find balance. Balance is minimalism. Now, balance is individual. I have a different fingerprint. Coconut and Dreams, he likes Tesla stocks. I like in and out of stocks. I don't like to hold stocks. Team Vasectomy, he likes cheap hookers in the DR. Okay, and I love them. Everyone likes something different. And I'll give my opinions. But, look, guys, I think those who understand me, and that's what I'm talking to. I'm not trying to reach those who don't understand me. I'm not going to waste my energy. Those who understand me know that I'm not trying to force my view. I'm trying to share my view passionately. You got to do you. Okay? And I got to do me. Okay? The cost is relative to the person. But never sell yourself short. Never undercharge for your services. Never work hard, build up your career, and then waste your time. Do what you need to do. There's times you can't always, see your tangible value. Sometimes you should do things for free. Sometimes you should volunteer. It's funny, I volunteered. I've done things for free. And a lot of cheap bastards, they never have. And they're the first ones to ask for everything for free. You know who argues with customer service? People who don't work. It's amazing. I got a family member, they don't work. They can't deal with people, and they want extreme great customer service. And they're lazy and they're nasty. It's ironic. It's ironic. Well, shout out to you, Coconut and Dream. Shout out to you, Team Vasectomy. Shout out to all my members in the background. I appreciate your support. Everyone who watches, everyone who clicks the thumbs up. I'm grateful. And I want you to have a great weekend. I don't want to work on a house this weekend. I want to work on myself. There's a difference. I don't want to live in a cheap house. I want to live by the beach. There's a difference. Coconut Dreams, is October 1st a good time to head to Florida? Now you're getting warmer. Yes, I think October 1st or November 1st is the best. If you really wanted optimal, wait till November 1st. But I don't know if I'm going to wait that long. By the latest, I'm out of New Jersey in November 1st. October starts the migration for me in my mind. I don't know, though. We'll see. But ideally, November 1st is probably the best. That's when you're officially out of hurricane season. That's when humidity really dies down. And that's when you're in a good zone. But I'm encouraged. We're at the end of August. So hang in there for all my snowbirds, all my people looking to go down to Florida for their first time. You have hope. You have excitement. You have endless summer. Keep it simple. You don't have to buy a house in Florida to enjoy Florida. You don't have to buy a big RV to enjoy the nomad life. Don't buy a cheap, used Class C, okay, that is going to cause you more stress emotionally and financially and going to slow you down because logistically you have challenges. You bought the Class C because it was cheap, but you didn't look at it as a minimalist. A minimalist is not just, is it cheap? Does it serve an efficient and effective use in my life? What are the back end costs? How will this make me suffer emotionally? You think when you're pulling a 26-foot Class C into a campground or into a gas station, you think that's emotional peace? You didn't look at it through the eyes of a minimalist. So think about that, guys. I'll take a hydration break. And it's all love, guys. We're pushing forward. Keep showing up. Keep showing up. Know your worth. Cheap people will never know your worth. They put no worth on themselves and they put no worth on anyone else. Never forget it. All right, guys, girls, everyone out there. That's the message today. Love to you, Coconut and Dreams. Love to you, Team Vasectomy. Love to everyone who watches this, clicks a thumbs up. Thank you to all my members. If you're not a member, click that blue join button. And I'll see you guys, God willing, tomorrow. All right, peace.